Hello all, good morning. Welcome to the next episode of Meet the Physio series. Today we have Dr. Ravi Ranganathan sir with us. He has more than 35 years of experience in physiotherapy. He has been involved in the development of Eagle Pro right from the conceptual stage, and it's about four and a half years now. And thanks for giving this time and opportunity. I can give a big intro, but I think it will be better if you talk as to how your journey has been, how you got into physiotherapy and your career so far, and ESRC today.
Okay. Thank you for having me here. And to start with, I was introduced to physiotherapy when my mom had facial paralysis. She was paralyzed on one side, and at that point of time, we had physiotherapy, but we had to go travel all the way 27 kilometers all the way to Government General Hospital to get physiotherapy done. So while she was getting physiotherapy done, I used to play in the parallel bars over there. People used to scream at me like, "Hey, get off with that parallel bar." So I was so young at that point of time, so I knew what physiotherapy was, but I didn't know that I would be ending up in physiotherapy as a profession at that point of time. But at one point of time, when I was aspiring to go into the medical field, my dad was pushing me for MBBS, and I was an average student, so I was not able to get there. So he literally dragged me into physiotherapy. But once I entered into physiotherapy, then there was no looking back. So I started enjoying every bit of it. I have initially when I completed it, we had more opportunities. Work was available very easily, so I got a government job. So I worked at the government for 7 years, had 2 clinics of my own at that point itself. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur at that time itself. So I did that, and then I traveled and got the opportunity to go to the United States. So been there, spent a good 9 long years there. It was a wonderful experience. How I looked at therapy here and how I looked at therapy there was entirely a whole different ballgame. Like here you did something out of experience, where there you were given more structure on telling you why you did certain things for certain reasons, and that made me a better person. And I wanted to come back here, so started in 2003, and last year 2023 we celebrated our 20 years of service. So, and the other thing is, it's been 40 years since I actually entered into college. 83 December, I went into college, and here in 2003, we are like doing this 40 years. So good travel, enjoyed my time. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's good to, I feel so proud to talk about my profession here.
Sure. It's great to hear about it, sir. So now you have 3 centers across Chennai. So how do you see the physiotherapy has evolved over the past decade in India especially, and how the centers have grown to, and what are the things that you typically do in centers that you think are unique, or that you do something special in PSRC?
Okay. The physiotherapy profession by itself has grown leaps and bounds. Like you wanted me to talk for a decade, and I will go all the way back 40 years ago. At that point of time, we were limited to only some modalities, where like if there was a condition, there were like certain exercises you do, and then certain modalities you do. And that whole concept is now changed, and now, especially in the recent 4 or 5 years, it has grown even more, where we are not thinking about disease and then working with someone. Okay, we are talking about movement. Okay, if somebody is not able to move, whatever that may be, even if he is not able to move his head, or like not even comprehending what to do, all those things, there is a role for physiotherapists, and this thing is not dependent on a medical diagnosis anymore, is what we are coming to understand. So if a child does not move very well, they can always come to a physiotherapist. If an elderly person does not feel like even moving, okay, there might be several aspects to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a medical diagnosis. They might not be motivated enough. There might be several psychosocial issues. So we have to look at it from several perspectives. In which environment is he working? How much money does he have? What is interfering him in not being able to move? And then for that, we don't need a medical diagnosis. Yes, it is important to have a medical diagnosis, if at all he has one. And if he doesn't have one, we can still interfere, because if he's not able to move, he is not able to move. Yes, we can identify why, and then we can make a difference in that. So the whole thing has changed, and that's what we primarily do in our center. Okay, identifying why something is not happening, and if there is a medical cause, what is its impact? We need that information. I don't say I don't need a medical diagnosis. That is not there, but I need that as a background information. I have to integrate that, everything else, and then help them out.
Okay. So we know you specialize in neuro, but can you talk about your most favorite condition?
You know, I wouldn't say it's the favorite one. It is the most challenging one. So anytime when something is challenging and it makes me think a whole lot and try to problem solve in different ways, that is the one which gives me the utmost satisfaction. Traumatic brain injury is the best thing, because when you go see a traumatic brain injury client, you never know what you're going to face. Okay, there can be a situation where this person completely cannot understand anything around, and he'll be like in coma and completely vegetative. You will not be able to interact with the client at all. And there will be someone who's like very aggressive on the other end. Okay, so they're like, I don't want any treatment. So all those things, we have to understand that like these people are not doing it on purpose. That is what their brain tells them to do, and understanding that, controlling your frustrations, and then getting something useful done to them and their families and making a difference is the biggest thing. I take pride because it's a huge challenge for families, for us, and whoever is paying for it. And when we make a difference, it gives you the best satisfaction you can ever get.
Sure. Any feedback that you think the best feedback that he has received so far?
Yesterday's situation was that several people had talked about Pain and Stroke Rehab Center to them, but they didn't take the initiative. I'm comfortable with my existing therapist, I don't want to do that. So they stayed there, and then 2 or 3 years down the line, now they come to a point like, Ravi's name has been told to me so many times, let me give it a try. So they came in just to try. And few minutes later, they say like, okay, why didn't I make this decision? Because I was told, I knew, but I did not make the decision. So that happens. I'm not blaming anyone, but physiotherapy is a profession where people trust their body to you. Okay, so it takes immense amount of feeling like, okay, am I doing the right thing to the right person? What if he does something back to me? Those are genuine concerns. Okay, so for people to realize that and then come to me, it takes them time, and that is one feedback. I always feel like, okay, well, when is this going to change? I don't know. It still happens, even yesterday.
Okay. And any patient who you think their life has really changed, or the most impact that you think the physiotherapy have done to them?
In 2004, there was one guy who fell from a second floor and then hit the floor. He was paralyzed from the waist below, and the doctor at the Bombay hospital had told him, like, you will not be able to walk anymore, you'll be like, your life is gone, you'll be in a wheelchair kind of thing. Yes, paraplegia is spinal cord injuries are very hard to handle. But this guy, when he came to me, he was asking me like, okay, is there any scope? I was like, okay, wheelchair independence, I can get you. Okay, beyond that, anything that happens is a gift. We'll take it from there. Okay, so we did the best we can, and then he started moving around, and then this guy had a little bit traces of potential here and there, and then we thought like, okay, why don't we push it? Okay, he was giving me challenges. He would say, my floor is all even, but I have 2 steps to get up. Okay, will I be able to climb? Okay, I was like, okay, wait a minute, let's start thinking about walking in the first place. And then we started getting one thing after the other, and then he started walking with a walker, and then the climbing stairs was feasible, and he said, my workspace has 1 flight of stairs, can I do that? Okay, so now every time the goalpost was changing. Okay, fine. And then we were able to get that one too. And it doesn't happen to all spinal cord injuries. He was lucky. Okay, it is we call it Asia C, where like it is partially involved, so some strengths were there, so we were able to capitalize on that and then make it happen. And at one point of time, he sends me a photo saying that I have been chosen as the best employee of my company. Here I am hoisting my Republic Day flag. I was like, yes, this is it. Okay.
So yeah, I still remember in one of our earlier conversations that you have mentioned you have taken patients to the cinema theaters, and have taken them to the traffic junctions to see how fast they are crossing and not.
Railway stations.
Railway
Okay.
stations, yeah.
There have been specific examples, like there was one guy who was coming from Srivilliputtur. He said, in my town, the railway station platform is not at the same level, sir. Okay, it is like 2 or 3 feet down. Okay, I said, okay, climb up. No, the stairs are not the same way as your stairs and my stairs are. They are one beneath the other. And I was like, okay, so you can climb up, but you cannot climb down. We came up with an alternative way. We took him to a platform, really tried it on that one, and then realized like, oh, I can make him go reverse and then still get down. So we problem solved it. This man was happy. Yeah, that is primarily what we take great pride in.
So, any challenge that you have faced that you want to highlight that you think will be useful for others?
Good. Neurological rehabilitation. That is what I specialize in, and that has given me a challenge which I'm not able to win even today. Okay, I would say that is the culture of India, because let's say we have a client who has a spinal cord injury. Okay, they very well know that we have an incident which has ruined your life, yes, and your likelihood of regaining is not there, and they have to switch to a wheelchair level independence. This is something our culture is not able to adapt. They tell me, oh, if you can make me walk, do that. Else, I don't want to be seen outside in a wheelchair. That's why you would not see many people on the streets. Okay, in the US, it is much easier. The transition from a onset of a heart injury to a wheelchair level independence happens much quicker. And people become more productive and they are doing wonders with the wheelchair. Okay. But now in our part of the country, it does not happen. Be it in the southern part or the northern part, the number of wheelchairs you see on the market, very, very, very limited. Okay. While there are so many people who are stuck indoors, there are several people who come to me and then say, I've been on the bed for 12 years, can you still make me walk? It's like, okay, you should have started accepting it a long time ago. Okay, you have not accepted that. They know, but they will not be willing to accept. That is a cultural deficit. I've been fighting it and educating someone and their families, not only the person as it is, even their families would ask the same thing. If I say, no, you have to learn to live in the wheelchair, then immediately they'll be like, oh, I'll find a better therapist then. So, that is a huge challenge and I have not won it over, and I don't think India will win that in the near future because it's ingrained in our system. It will take several years to come out of that.
So before Eagle Pro, before using Eagle Pro for PSRC, how you have been maintaining your operations and how has Eagle Pro helped in making it better?
When we started very slow, we were doing it all manually, and then at one point of time, manually was not happening, it was taking too much time. Then we switched to Google, okay, so Google Docs, Google Sheets, so we had even all our appointments made in Google. So until I switched to Eagle Pro, we were basically having all our appointment made in Google Calendar.
Sure.
So we had given access to all our employees, so if there are 6 or 7, so all of them were able to access Google, and we knew exactly what the other person's calendar looked like also. So, and I was looking for something customized, and that is when Eagle Pro, it was knocking me at the right time. Many times I always think like, if somebody is asking me, can we do this? I always think like, oh, if this is coming to me for some reason, let me try it. That's how we started. And when he said, when Eagle Pro said that we are going to create it based on your requirement for others also, I was like, okay, now things are being customized to me. Okay, what else can I get? I wanted everything my way, and the height of it was Eagle Pro was able to adapt, okay, whatever I wanted, and like, okay, initially I wanted something and I like, no, this is not what I want even more. And Eagle Pro has been like very flexible, trying to come up with newer versions, and there were several challenges, And yes, Eagle Pro has kept up to its promise, I would say.
Oh, thank you. So, what are your top features that you like in Eagle Pro?
Okay, the features which I love with Eagle Pro is that on the first screen, as an admin, when I open it, it tells me how many overall clients I have for all the 3 organizations. Okay, so that is there. And then like how many appointments are there today and how many has been already completed and how many are still pending. So this gives me a breakup as to like what the outpatient is doing, what the inpatient is doing and what the home visits are doing. So, and even the tele. So given that, it gives me a comprehensive figure on the first page itself. And then now I'm able to open up reports if at all I have to see any particular therapist or patient or like the center as it is. So it gives me all those features which has made my life a whole lot easier. And now the last feature which I use very much nowadays is that we are able to add outcome measures whatever we are using more. Okay? Outcome measures is something where like we are becoming more accountable. Okay, so all my therapists are becoming accountable now. So I tell them like you have to have an outcome measure for every condition you work with. Okay, so if a person is coming in, you have to tell me like what was the first day and what is it 10 days from now. So they are becoming more accountable. So I'm able to track it over my phone wherever I am. So I travel to the US nowadays very comfortably. Okay, I have this one wherever I am, I'm able to monitor. So those features are wonderful.
So we have come to the last segment or the final segment where we'll talk about the new physiotherapists who are coming straight out of college. And when people come out of college, when they complete their physiotherapy, most of their dreams would be to have a practice on their own at some point of time. So what are the things that you would advise them as to straight out of college, considering you take a lot of interns who are coming from colleges these years? What would your message to?
Good question, because when people complete their degree, okay, they think like, okay, I have a degree, now I'm eligible for like this much amount of salary or something like that. But the environment does not work that way for a entry level physiotherapist, because if you are trying to work with someone, the client should feel comfortable and then come looking for you. Okay. And that doesn't happen that easily, because like the way you communicate and the way that particular organization functions, you have to adapt to that. Because in let's say you're in a college, okay, where like all people come in, you don't have any restriction, they just barge in and then you do the best you can and then you send them away. When it comes to a private practice like ours, okay, you have a hard time bringing them in the first place. Once they are in, you have to convince them that we can make a difference and then make them stay with us, and they can become potential referral sources for a large number of people. So it requires a lot of communication. If you don't have that skill, you become a liability. Okay, you're not an asset to the organization. Entry-level physiotherapists, normally when they ask me for a job, they send me an email saying that, is there a vacancy? Like, okay, all right. I say yes, and immediately they're like, what salary? Like, no, okay, you can't think of a salary on an entry level because I don't know what your potentials are. Okay, let's say you come in, I hire you, and then you work with a client, and then tomorrow morning the client says, sir, I don't want this guy, you work with me. Okay, if he says that, I am not going to earn for this guy's salary. Okay, I can't do that. Okay, so you become a liability. The first thing I do, turn you around, kick you out the door. Okay, so that is what I have to do. If you are able to convince someone, and then the next day the client comes in saying that, where is that guy? I don't want you. Okay, I want to work with him. He is an asset to me. Okay, so I'll be happy to pay whatever he looks for. Okay, so you have to show your employer that you are capable of doing that. Okay, to do that, you don't ask for salary first. Okay, you enter in. Before you enter in, you go visit the place and then see if this is the place you want to really work. Okay, this comes to that next question you asked for. If you have a plan, okay, you have to start a clinic somewhere down the line, okay, then you have to write down your plan as to what you want to be 30 years from now, and then what to achieve that, what do you have to be 15 years from there on, and then what you have to do today to get there. Okay, a good idea would be to work in an environment which or something similar to which you want to do in the future. So you have to find the right place and see if you will be able to fit in. There are some organizations which therapists say they don't teach me anything at all, sir. They hide everything. You teach me everything. Okay. If you want to learn how the workspace works and not about knowledge about the profession, then that is a good place to do. Okay. You will learn. You will learn no matter what. Okay. So you have to identify what is the right thing for me, what is that I need, and then pick that place. And then no matter what the salary is, you go in. Once you establish yourself and then say, I'm an asset to you, you can demand whatever you want, whatever you are eligible for, and your employer will be very happy to pay, because if you go, he will be a loser.
Yeah.
So that is something people, entry level physiotherapists have to understand.
Sure. Great, sir. And I mean, typically when people get into a career and they start to thinking of having their own clinic or a center, most of the time they don't have the business background, right? So they have this clinical background, and and that change of from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur to having their own practice, there will be several blind spots, or there will be several things that they have to think differently, or look things differently. So, what are some of the learnings that you think that they should take, or that they should be aware of the things when they get into it?
Okay, when you have a long-term plan that you are going to do a center, let's say in Dindigul, okay, there's no point in working in Madras for that. Okay, so if you are working in Chennai, your database is going to build only in Chennai. So you are not going to, when you go to Dindigul, let's say 5 years later, you are going to start everything afresh. That becomes very difficult. If you are your plan is to do things in Dindigul, you start earlier on in Dindigul. Okay, whoever is working there, I would say go there, work with them. Okay, then you will know what the market is. Is this something, do I really want my foot in, or I'll be better off in Chennai? Okay, if you are sure that you are in Chennai, you want in Dindigul, you have to spend more time in Dindigul, even if it is a competitor who could become a competitor in the future. I would say work there, learn what mistakes he is doing, and then what not to do yourself. So if you do that, then you will already have a network. So many patients would have seen you. They will know that this man has potential. So when you want to start something, if you say, I'm opening a clinic tomorrow, you will have a following at least to survive. Because if you go blind, you will be stuck for at least 2 years for recognition to come. You will be having to spend a whole lot on infrastructure and everything, which is very, very difficult as a entrepreneur. I learned that lesson the hard way when I came from the United States. Okay, I came from there thinking like, oh, Madras, my place. I can just like that land and then get started. No, it took me good 2 long years to establish and then settle down. Tambaram was better. Anna Nagar was faster. So because we already were in the market, people were able to. They knew that Ravi exists. So that is something I would suggest.
Okay, sure. So this will be the final question, sir. So if I ask you to tell about pain and stroke or your practice in 5 words, what will those 5 words be?
5 words. Okay. Passion. If you are very passionate about your profession, nothing like that. Okay. And dedication. Not even a single client can be looked down upon. They could be a very low income person or a very high income person. There should not be a discrimination. It should be even. Okay, no matter what. Good question. Hard work, okay, and every day you should be struggling to make sure that you make a difference on that client. Okay, you have to work for that. There have been days when I wake up in the middle of the night like, hey, I could do this. Okay, that passion you have to have, and you have to constantly think of what I can do for my client. If you do that, recognition comes automatically. Okay, and enjoy every bit of your client's success. Okay, if he is able to do something better than yesterday, you should enjoy it. Only then your clients enjoy it. When they enjoy it, you become very successful. And it is not like persistence is the last one, I would say, where you cannot do this for 2 years and then say, oh, if I gained a name, I can just ignore, move on. No, got to constantly do it throughout your life. It doesn't stop there. And learning. You cannot stop learning. Every client is a challenge, and every time when they come in, you have to go back to books. Even yesterday, I learned something new. So you have to keep learning. Learning should become a habit of yours, else you cannot survive. You become outdated soon.
Thank you so much, sir. It has been very nice, and thanks for your time today. And I really enjoyed this conversation. So
I enjoyed it too. Okay.
thank you so much for your time, and all the very best.
Thanks for having me here. Makes me feel good. Like think about my profession backwards. Makes me happy.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.